This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Tuesday, May 30th, 2023. I'm Alex Brown. McLaren Racing has shifted gears on its plans for a new office facility as the group said it will acquire the current Andretti Autosport building in Indianapolis once Andretti makes its move to a new headquarters in Fishers. Racing Director Gavin Ward said the move is a better option for the team, which originally planned to invest $25 million to build its own facility in Whitestown.
It gives us the option to upgrade that building before we move in, make it the level we need. It came about pretty fast, but it took a little while to actually get something done.
McLaren still plans to invest in the property on a similar scale to what it planned for the Whitestown facility, but designs are still in their early stages. Georgia-based Graphic Packaging International is planning to close its manufacturing plant in Auburn later this summer. In a notice to the state, the company said the closure will affect about 70 employees, though they will be encouraged to apply for other positions. The plant manufactures folding cartons for food and consumer products. GPI said the decision to consolidate the Auburn production into its broader network of plants was the most cost-effective outcome for the company. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Get ready, West Central Indiana. We're headed your way. IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation invite you to the inaugural Engage West Central Indiana event presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. Tuesday, June 20th at Holman Center at Indiana State University. We'll be diving into talent, education, and other issues shaping the regional economy. More at ibj.com/engage.
The Garitoni School of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Ivy Tech Community College Evansville has graduated its first class of students with a certificate in entrepreneurship, and already those grads are putting skills related to financing, business plans, and marketing skills to use. 20 students completed 16 credit hours over 2 semesters to earn one of the inaugural entrepreneurship certificates. Some had started companies before the class began, and others did so during and after. Iris Hamill, Executive Director of Regional Innovation and Startup Education, which helped launch the Garitoni School in South Bend, said the curriculum gives students a path to entrepreneurship that relies heavily on networking.
The learning happens because they're getting connected to real leaders that are sharing the problems they're facing, the work that they're doing, what their business model is. It makes it come to life, and then it also helps students take pride in where they live. Because they're getting to actually see behind the scenes with the owners of companies, how that company was built, why it was built, the story behind it, versus just driving by the building and having no clue, what's going on inside.
Ivy Tech expects 2 groups, a total of 50 students, to begin the entrepreneurial program in Evansville in the fall of 2023. A community organization led by high school students hopes to raise $17,500 to upgrade the water fountains at parks in Auburn. If the project meets its goals, the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority will match it, totaling $35,000 toward the initiative. Junior Auburn Main Street, the youth arm of Auburn Main Street, plans to add new and upgrade water fountains in local parks to be ADA accessible, according to its crowdfunding campaign site. New stations would feature water bottle refill fountains as well. They hope to add 10 new fountains to 7 parks. If the group surpasses $35,000, the remaining money will go to improving hand washing and drying stations, as well as adding mirrors. In a recent advisory opinion, the Indiana Supreme Court Disciplinary Commission doubled down on expectations that public officials and government lawyers avoid potential conflicts when moving between public and private service or when moving from one government agency to another.
Up for interpretation are Indiana professional conduct rules as they apply to former government employees who personally or substantially worked on a specific matter during their tenure with the government, and whether the former employee possesses confidential governmental information that could be damaging to a third party. Specifically, the Commission's new analysis contemplates a key question. When must a lawyer who is a current or former government official or employee be disqualified from or decline to accept a legal matter due to a conflict of interest? Legislators emphasize their duty to disclose potential conflicts of interest when they arise and to recuse themselves from voting on bills that could cause pecuniary gain. But some outside the State House say the self-policing model needs to be reformed and that economic interest disclosure forms should require more detailed disclosures about private work. The non-binding advisory opinion acknowledges that, as with every attorney-client relationship, the duty of loyalty demands that information related to the representation of a client be protected. But because the work of government employees implicates public interest in a way that private practice usually does not, the Commission emphasized there are special nuances when weighing conflicts of interest. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio.
West Fork Whiskey Company co-founder Blake Jones is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.